Hi, and welcome back to Alex Talking. It's the end of May. Wait a minute, June. So, you know what that means? We're going to stop and rank every movie that came out in the month of June from the worst to the best, starting with number 14, because I saw 14 movies this month. But that doesn't mean I saw everything. For example, today at noon, I'm taking my fiance on a little movie date to go see Bridehard, which who knows if that's going to be any good, but it's not going to be on this list because I have not seen it yet. Let me know what you thought of it if you saw it down below, though. Starting at number 14 with movies we did see, another pick by my fiance, F, Mary, Kill. I know, not the only movie to start with just the letter F this month. This was a Hulu original starring Lucy Hale, but it was produced mainly by BuzzFeed Studios and is about the swipe right killer, a dating app killer in California who is striking hard and striking fast. And boy, this movie was ass. I don't have anything really nice to say about it. That's not the movie's fault. This isn't my type of junk. I do like, a good serial killer movie, but that's not what this is. This is pure slop. This is like, cringy Gen Z women humor, which has its place. I texted my cousins right away to watch it, but this isn't for me. Oh, Peaches, you look so cute down there. My girlfriend wasn't for her either. She thought it was terrible, but like I said, once again, this isn't the first time we've opened a streaming app to put on something and then the streaming algorithm movie of the week was blasted right there. And she said, "Oh, put that on," because the last time was a Lindsay Lohan Christmas movie that was dreadful too. But I'll never complain because as long as she chose to watch it, I have a certain vested interest just to see what she'll come out thinking. And almost every time it's, "I don't know, if it was bad, I don't care, and I'll never think about it again." So thanks for wasting my 90 minutes. Coming in at 13, Wolf. Talk about a waste of 90 minutes. It was only 80 minutes, but the TV kept crashing, so actually it did take me like 90 minutes to watch this piece of shit. Predator, Killer of Killers. This is the not for me movie of the month, especially just because so many people I have heard like it, and I was just at a party for my fiance who turned 21 this weekend, and I was talking to two dudes about movies, and this came up, and they were like, "Did you like that?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm never trying to rain on your parade because I'm so excited to talk about movies all the time, even if I don't like them. But this is one where I only have negative shit to say because that shit was so cringy, so embarrassing. The World War II stuff is so humiliating to watch. Like, as a secondhand embarrassment experiencer, almost even more so than firsthand experience. I mean, or embarrassment. For goodness sakes, I sit here and talk about movies on YouTube and say crazy shit with zero regard for like the fact that I'm putting myself out there because I enjoy it. But watching a dude be like flying a jet plane fighting a predator and I was like, "Come on, dad, we got this," is so embarrassing to me that I like cringe out of my skin, and no amount of predator gore in shitty anime is going to be worth it for me to sit through so much cringy, embarrassing, humiliating human characters. I didn't have that big of a deal with the first two characters, especially the Japanese one was by far the best one. But overall, still not a movie I would ever in a million years watch again because I'd almost consider this worse than Predator 2, which for the longest time has been one of my least favorite movies ever, just because of how bad it drops the ball on executing such an easy concept, which is insulting to me. But this really pissed me off because it became clear that they just gave the Predator franchise to a glad, happy yes man who can give them content and make it completely dog shit. Coming in at 12, we have Megan 2. Wow. I thought this looked bad, but I did not at all think that it would be as bad as it was. Like, at all. Because whenever the plot was revealed that it was going to be a Terminator 2 ripoff, I only thought that was funny. I thought, wow, that's insane that they chose to do that, but go off and let's see what you got. And what they had was something that took itself way too seriously, tried to actually have like a Mission Impossible spy action movie plot, but with no element of any tact or intelligence, and no actual smart or clever humor as well. So it is just a lowest common TikTok denominator, boring action movie. Megan knows that a slasher is 90 minutes, an action movie is 2 hours, and this movie is 30 minutes too long for sure. No reason for it not to just be a easy breezy, clean, get in, get out, Bizang Blitz 90-minute action movie. And nah, it's boring. Megan looks like shit. And honestly, I won't like literally entertain an opinion that doesn't think that. I have no clue what the point of making a Megan action movie is if Megan looks like shit and the action looks like shit. Allison Williams has a whole action sequence where her hair falls over her face, and then at the end she brushes it all the way back. And it's like, well, I'm not an idiot. I know that that was a stunt double, and that's the only reason that her hair did that. I just can't understand why this like solid budget studio produced movie is so bad that they couldn't afford an actual stunt double that looked like her, or didn't know how to shoot it in a way that at least concealed that it wasn't her. You can shoot it from behind more than doing it like that. You could have made it a POV action sequence. You could have done 1,000 things that weren't. We're gonna shoot it head on, but with her hair over her face, so you can't tell it's not Allison Williams. Guess what? I could tell it wasn't Allison Williams, and why would I even fucking care about an Allison Williams action sequence in Megan 2 anyway? But I felt that Megan was also severely sidelined in this movie. For what you're selling me, Megan was severely sidelined. And once again, because they obviously don't even have the budget to make Megan look like Megan. Because anytime she talks, her lips don't match what she's saying. And that's not like an artistic decision. If it is, it's a horrible one because it makes her very visually uncanny valley. And yeah, this was just a complete disaster. But so like it's a complete disaster in a way that I'm like, well, how the on earth is the How to Train Your Dragon remake, which I didn't care for like at all, and like meant nothing to me, above Megan 2, even though I have way more thoughts about Megan 2. And it's like, well, because Megan 2 is an unmitigated disaster, and like as much as I often enjoy Blumhouse slop, like I always am a defender of Blumhouse, I can't pretend this isn't a complete piece of shit. And I don't think we'll get a Megan 3. Like, that's how bad I think they messed this up. This movie's, like, just dreadful. And no horror fan I know likes it. And no action fan I know likes it. Literally, anybody I've spoken to, because I thought this would be the case, that has seen it, which is very few people. It's only 3 people. Literally. And I know a lot of people who like the first Megan. Like, that I know people who kept inviting me to go see the first Megan on rewatches. Which I didn't, because I didn't even like the first one that much. And that tells you all you need to know, because I'll go to the movies any day of the week. And I've still only ever seen the first Megan once. But I gave that 3 stars. And this, I was like, I have no clue who's this for, who this is going to appeal to, because it's not even trying to be funny. It doesn't even, like, have the charm of, oh my gosh, she's dancing in the hall now. It's like, well, do the TikTok dance on stage, sing the Kate Bush song, do all the things so we can trend, and that's it. So I could not believe how hollow of a mess this was, and just pandering and appealing to the lowest common denominator. So number 12 out of 14 is Megan 2, which is disappointing because I was really hoping it would be fun. Coming in at 11, Cleaner, the new Martin Campbell Max original starring Daisy Ridley. I'll be quick with this one. It's a die-hard ripoff about a girl that cleans windows. If you like action movies, go ahead and give it a whirl. If not, it's not a very good one. Number 10, How to Train Your Dragon, the remake. I don't really care about this movie. Another movie that, you can tell was made for very hollow reasons. It was, hey, we're going to either do another animated movie, do a live action movie, whichever you want, but we need a movie for the amusement park that's coming out. Need to drum up some hype, and they decided to go with the remake. Meow. Peaches over there making noises, man. Big noises. Come on over here, Peaches. You're my little dragon, aren't you? You're my little toothless. But yeah, this is like the exact same movie as the animated one, but with some bad CGI and some bad acting. So if that sounds appealing to you, like if you'd rather the little girl character be a bad actress and if you would rather like all the side characters to be bad, like not appealing at all, then this is for you. Like, if the idea of, oh, look, they're real people riding fake dragons, I can appeal to it more, sounds like you, then this is for you. But if not, just watch the animated one. That's what I would recommend. Coming in number 9, Life of Chuck. I know, you're like, wow, he's been really negative about these bottom 5. Is he going to get positive eventually? Not with this one, unfortunately. Which was very disappointing as well because Mike Flanagan is a great horror film director. He's good, man. He's really good. Like, I don't like Oculus at all. And like for whatever reason, as soon as I said he's a great horror film director, I was like, Oculus is a piece of shit, though. But that's just my opinion. But he did great with Doctor Sleep. I just watched Gerald Game for the first time. That was fucked up. That was cool. He's just a really cool guy. Is honestly why I like Mike Flanagan a lot. I dig his vibe. I dig just the way he talks about and embraces film. I find him to be a very cool, engaging, and encouraging guy. And the Hill House and all that stuff. As much as I never finished the House of Haunting of Hill House, I finished the Haunting of Bly Manor, and I thought that one was pretty good. And like I said, I always can respect a guy that brings people who I don't know as being interested in horror into the genre, and so many people, so many like women in my age range gravitate to this guy's stuff. And I appreciate that so much that they can, have a inlet to horror through Mike Flanagan's works. This is not a horror film. This is a Stephen King adaptation, though. And it's a tale of 3 acts, told in reverse. The first one's the best one. The ending is a knockout. Nothing in between really worked for me. Just really Tom Hiddleston doing some dance. It's a really interesting idea, and I almost have to wonder if it would play better on rewatch, but I was waiting for it to kick into gear, in which it never did for me. And once again, as always with movies lower on this list that have a certain quality to them, it is the cringiness that brings it back for me. And I'm not a theater kid, so I do not think it was cool that this kid fucking danced like that. So if that worked for you, it worked for you. And that's what I think does make this movie work. Because my girlfriend was just like, she hated this movie. To the point that I almost felt bad I took her to see it. Because I was so excited for it. I kept gassing it up. And I was like, everyone says it's so good out of these festivals. It's from a really good filmmaker. And it's her least favorite movie of the year. She constantly references how cringy and embarrassing that movie with Tom Hiddleston we saw was. And is like, because I talk about movies with people all the time, she's like, but don't go see the Tom Hiddleston dancing death movie. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. And I was like, okay. It's bad, but it's not that bad. It just, I don't know how this got the reception it has, other than people like to go to movies at festivals, which I do too. But just because everyone's like, it's so beautiful and powerful, I'm like, oh wow, what movie? But hey, more power to you. Coming in number 8, Echo Valley. Echo Valley is a Apple TV movie with Sydney Sweeney and Julianne Moore, produced by M. Night Shyamalan. Domhnall Gleeson showed up in this as well. Sydney Sweeney, please, baby, learn that you have respect. I know it feels like you don't. It feels like you don't think you do, at least, from the roles that you take on. But you're a talented actress, Sydney Sweeney, and people really like you and will watch you do movies where you don't have to just be called a crack whore and kicked in the face on the ground. And it feels like so often those are the roles where she's like, I would really like to be in a movie where I get abused by men, or TV shows and stuff. And that's not what it's all about. You did your due on Euphoria. We can move on. And at this point, it was just kind of weird. That's why I got out of this movie. I was like, wow, Sydney Sweeney's still doing roles like this. I thought she was like an adult, but I guess not. Um, this is just not the type of role she needs to be doing. That is the biggest takeaway from this movie because it's a fine thriller with moronic twists and the dumbest ending you can find about horse insurance and shit. It's a typical one of those like sloppy streaming thrillers that your parents will love, but I just couldn't believe that Sydney Sweeney was in another role where she's like a strung out junkie getting kicked by a like redneck on the ground. I'm like, okay, I have seen this before. Coming in at 7, okay, this is mid. Finally, we have something that's mid, not on the lower or like the lesser end of things. Because everything below this, which is exactly half of the list, we are exactly halfway through. The bottom half are all bad movies. Now, everything above this are all mid to good movies. And actually, above this one, everything's good. This is mid. This is the only mid thing. And that mid thing is Elio. There's good. There's bad. It's Elio. I think this should have been called Aliens. Oh shit, that's a movie that already exists. But there's a better title for this than Elio. I'm just gonna throw that out there because I don't know if the title's the reason this thing tanked, but it is dead in the water. And I feel bad for Pixar because it's not that bad. It was actually pretty creative and original. It just was really, you know, a little simple, a little formulaic, and whenever you introduce an element like, oh, here's this little pin, here's this pin that'll make you part of the Galactic Senate. And if you do this thing for us, you will get it at the end of the logical conclusion of the movie. I thought to myself, oh, I hate being an adult seeing children's movies because now I just have to sit here and wait for them to give him that thing so he can turn it down and teach me a lesson I already know. And that's exactly what happened. And the like emotional manipulation was actually really difficult to sit through because they went on for so long trying to get you to believe a certain character was going to die and certain different like plot points were trying to twist your emotions, if that makes sense. If you've seen the movie, you know what I mean. And that shit actually never works for me, let alone an adult movie or a children's movie. I'm just not the type of guy who's going to be like, it's a children's movie, I'll give it a pass. It's like, oh, you don't have to make me think that character's going to die for 15 to 20 minutes. I know he's not going to. Please, you made a cute little cuddly alien character. Let's have fun with him in the only movie he'll ever be in. Let's not just leave him dead, lying, writhing on the ground for like 15 minutes because let's make some kids cry. Like, that's just so lazy and stupid fucking writing. Like, I'm so over that shit at this point of my life, Like, life's too short to try to trick kids into thinking the little alien's gonna die. It's never fucking gonna. Coming in at number 6, you got Dangerous Animals. This is a good little shark thriller. I like my Australian little thrillers, especially whenever they're creature feature movies, but something like Wolf Creek even is one of my favorite horror movies. I mean that. Like, if you haven't seen Wolf Creek, go ahead and give it a try. Greg McLean directed another one called Rogue, though, which is what I was thinking of, which is a crocodile creature feature. And that is like the best comparison I could give this. They're not at all the same because this one's like a serial killer creature feature, which is why it was so fun and unique, especially with a very fun, hot, young Jennifer Lawrence as the lead. Like a digital recreation of Jennifer Lawrence is what this chick looked like, and a crazy, kooky Jai Courtney as the villain, with fun sharks sprinkled throughout. This was a fun movie. Yeah, I would definitely recommend you give Dangerous Animals its due. It's going to be on Shudder sometime soon. They should put on Shudder for the 4th of July. And yeah, I had a blast at the cinemas with this, and I really wanted to see it a second time, and they took it out of theaters. I was going to take my girlfriend to see it because she was like, go see it. If it's good, I'll go see it with you again. And I was like, oh no, I do think it's genuinely good. Like, I did think this was like genuinely worth seeing. So It's a shame they took it out of theaters so fast, but I had a really good time. Coming in at 5, from the world of John Wick, Ballerina. Ballerina was a very fun action movie that I expected to be solid, at best almost, until the trailer started to just keep playing before every movie, and I finally let myself get my hopes up and say, maybe a John Wick movie spinoff is not going to be as bad as I think, because I really like Ana de Armas too, and it looks like they're going to be doing John Wick action. Who cares if it's not Keanu? That action's fun, and that's exactly what this was. I'm bummed out that this movie bombed so bad, because I don't know if they're going to give us like the Kane one with Donnie Yen and whatnot, but I really did think that it was a cool movie and that it had badass action and also differentiated itself from John Wick in a very cool and unique way by having her, at the very beginning of the movie, they establish she fights like a girl, and she's like killing people with skates and, throwing shit at them, using everything at her disposal. And I thought that was cool. I thought that was awesome. And I thought Ana de Armas was great. And even though through the first half of it, maybe there's like certain points where the CGI is not as strong. By the end of it, there's a flamethrower sequence, and you're like, that's where the entire budget went. Excuse me, needed a sip of water. And yeah, I had a great time with that one. Coming in at 4, just a razor's hair edge above Ballerina, they're very close for me, is F1 the movie. But I give this one the edge because of the action. It's not that either of them had a very groundbreaking or ingenuitive story. F1's actually really hampered by the fact that it has way more annoying characters. F1, especially sitting with it, is like so good and so frustrating to me actually as well in a lot of ways, because this should have been just such an easy slam dunk, but they just dropped the ball, and I mean like not even a little mistake, just like ruined their movie with how poorly written the characters are. Brad Pitt as Sonny is solid. He's a fun character who could have been fleshed out more, but the actual central themes and ideas of a vagabond racer just trying to, figure out what's it about. Because it's not about the money, it's just about keeping on going and doing what you love. Is cool. But there's a love story that means nothing and is only there to be a love story. There is a young British character who is just such a noxious, annoying asshole, and I know that's the point, but it has sat with me very poorly how annoying he is. And as I bitched about in my review, this movie crumbles under the weight of itself during this little plot point in which he crashes and then his mother blames Brad Pitt for it and bitches Brad Pitt out. And I cannot get over that they wrote that into the script. A mother bitching out an old driver because he got her son in the wreck, even though her son is an adult that fucking chose to drive Formula One and she chose to let him. And the guy who put him in the fucking car is trying to apologize to her about the accident. And she says, I don't want to talk to you, Ruben. I want to talk to Sonny. Takes him into the room and bitches him out. Brad Pitt should have slapped her in the face and walked right out. That was insulting to think that. I know British people probably would try to pull that fucking shit, but that was ridiculous. And as a 21-year-old just enjoying a movie, completely took me out of it that any human being would react so illogically to that. And it's like, well, if she did, I can't live in a world where he didn't say fuck you right to her face, because that was so ridiculous that an adult woman acted that way. And that frustrated me that the women in this movie were written so illogically. Like Carrie Condon, I love her, but once again, the love story is only there for him to fuck her. Like, that's all it is. That's all it is. And that's fine, but that's all it's there for. And there's no actual depth to it, and they don't really stick together in the end. It's only there for them to have sex in Las Vegas, which is like, okay, that's the love story, but I didn't care for it. So I didn't like any of the characters. This movie is purely, and I didn't really care for the story as much. other than like the aspects of, look, he's got them all running, holding tennis balls on the track now. But just because of how obnoxious every character was, and that they never won me over except for Brad Pitt, Javier Bardem, and just because I like the actress Carrie Condon, the story just does nothing for me. And like the music also is pretty bad for the most part. They've got Queen, they've got Led Zeppelin, but outside of that, they also have fucking Doja Cat. So this was nowhere near as precise as Top Gun Maverick. This had so many more flaws going for it. But overall, it's still a movie that should be seen in the theaters on the biggest screen possible. And that's where I disagree with my fiance, because I told people that, and she's like, no, it has a lot of issues. And I'm like, yeah, but it still should be seen in theaters. You know, I'm someone that still tries to support movies, every movie in theaters, just because that's my passion and my like thing I want to do, and like I enjoy going to the movies. So that's why I'll go see Brideheart, even though I know it's going to probably be a complete piece of shit, and that the people in it probably shouldn't even be working in movies anymore because they'll likely be the reason it's a piece of shit. But I still want to support it because no one else is going to. And if nobody else does consistently, the movies will die. But I also understand supporting the right stuff and the wrong stuff. And at the end of the day, this is the right stuff to me because it's trying something ingenuitive, it's trying something groundbreaking, and doing something new with the art of filmmaking. And that is why it's worth seeing, because every one of those action sequences is stunning. And I close my eyes, and at night I see that track. I see everything. And the very last lap of this movie actually took my breath away. I didn't breathe throughout the entire thing. And that's how I knew it was effective. Love the action, love the racing sequences, just wish it was way more sharper in every other aspect. Coming in at number 3, and our top 3 are 3 very good movies, but number 3 is The Materialists, Celine Song's new movie, and I like this one way more than Past Lives. Dakota Johnson's fantastic here. Pedro Pascal is doing something that he needed to do in the midst of all these franchise roles. You know, he's great in stuff like Last of Us, but it's nice to see him being in a movie where it's about real people, you know, in New York City. I call these jeans movies. This one's certainly not necessarily a jeans movie. It's more of a suit and dress movie, but there's still jeans in it. Chris Evans definitely brings the jeans element to this, and this is the type of movie that Chris Evans needed to be doing since, you know, Knives Out. This is his first good movie since Knives Out, but this is the movie he's needed to be doing all the way since, like, Gifted. He knew Gifted was, like, that type of movie. Gifted is one of the pinnacle jeans movies, and he's going back to that, and he excelled here. He's very emotionally vulnerable here and actually is real and, like, gives a good performance rather than just trying to. He is, and that was refreshing to see. Like I said, Dakota Johnson's great. The opening was really great. It had some moments that had me gasping. You'll know it when you see it, with Pedro Pascal. And yeah, I thought it actually had a really nice, interesting, sweet message at the end of it. Just had great vibes. The New York City was so well realized. Carrie's Succession, oh my gosh. Carrie's Succession is in this movie, and she's like a chameleon. She's unrecognizable, and she is the most vulnerable performance. And she is so, so, so damn good in this. You have to give her her flowers. Yeah, she was great. I really enjoyed this movie and highly recommend it as a naturalist. This is like even more so than F1, and by even more so, I mean like infinitely more so, the type of movie I would say people need to be supporting in theaters because they don't make them like they used to. This is like genuinely like the elevated horror version of like, what are those movies? Nora Ephron movies, Nancy Meyers movies. Yeah, this is like the elevated horror version of Nancy Meyers. Thank you, A24. Thank you, Celine Song. Coming in number 2, 28 years later, and let me tell you, it is so hard that this is not number 1, but it is just not number 1 because number 1 is somehow just a little bit better, and 28 years later is about as good as it gets for me. I've seen it twice now, and I recommended it to everybody I know, and everyone I know is loving it. It is so awesome to see that this is playing so well with so many people. I thought this was terrific. I thought it was freaky. I thought the zombie dong was awesome. I have a long review of it if you want to go check that out. I'll put the link down in the description. All these movies, you know, you can check my channel out. Not all these movies, but a lot of them have reviews on it. But 28 Years Later was one that was deep, it was complex, it had thoughts going on beneath the surface, so much more so than a typical zombie movie, while also having the best zombie footage of any movie I've seen since like Day of the Dead. The actual zombies here were so badass, so gnarly, doing such crazy fucked up shit. I thought it was awesome. Slurping up worms, getting shot in the head. I love the style of when they get shot in the head, the way the camera moves. I love the iPhone rig switching around from one shot to the other shot and the way that it was done. I love the Jimmy stuff even more so on a second watch after I got the backstory of what it was all supposed to mean and putting it fully together that kid at the end was the kid from the beginning. You know, it worked. Even the ending is hilarious to me. It's a hardcore riff of Teletubbies. Yeah, I loved it. I absolutely had a blast with this, and I cannot wait for 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, because this was one of my favorite zombie movies in years. Years. Number one, though, is Wes Anderson's new movie, The Phoenician Scheme. I know, I know. I'm sorry. I just cannot help myself. Every time one of these comes out, it's so special to me. You can say that they're all the same. He's lost in the plot. He just does the same thing over and over again. And I say, well, Marvel's done the same thing over and over again 29 times. Doesn't get people bored of it. This dude's been making movies, only 14 of them since 1996, and I feel like we're getting a fucking treasure every time it comes out. It is unlike any other movie, and all of them are different. This was completely different than Asteroid City, which was completely different than The French Dispatch. And if you can't see that, that's fine. You don't have to watch them. But they are completely different. They work together in their own little thematic ideas trilogy. Has a lot to say about the rumination of death and legacy. But they're very different movies. Asteroid City has emotional beats that don't get anywhere close, or that this doesn't get anywhere close to reaching. And this has comedy moments that Asteroid City doesn't have because of its harrowing, dark nature to it. Asteroid City's like this real deep rumination on grief to me. And so many people I know are just so quick to write that movie off as being quirk Wes Anderson. But it is, you know, those scenes with Margot Robbie and Jason Schwartzman on the balcony talking to each other saying, you're the wife that played the actress in the play that make it what it is. This isn't about Asteroid City. This is about Phoenician Scheme. And the Phoenician Scheme was so funny. Benicio del Toro is fantastic in this. I love that guy. Sicario is one of my top 15 favorite movies ever. Seeing him ball out in a Wes Anderson movie like this, being able to be given the lead role alongside Michael Cera, who is finally where he needs to be in Wes Anderson movies. This is just such a treat. So funny. Great, great, great sequences. And moved at a clip. The second time I saw it, I realized I was like, yep, I like every scene. Every scene makes me laugh, and every scene made me go, oh, it's this scene. I'm excited to watch this again. Oh, it's this scene. I'm ready to watch this one again. The Michael Cera bit is really, like, the payoff to that's really good. Cumberbatch was hilarious in this as well. Have to shout him out. Yeah, I had a great time at the movies with the Phoenician Scheme both times, so it comes in at number one. Let me know your ranking of what you saw in the month of June. It was a good month. July has so many movies coming out. July is going to be almost like an elephant graveyard because we've got these three bloated franchises coming from the dead. And by dead, I mean like what? 4 fucking months ago is the last one we got a Marvel movie. No, only like May, the beginning of May. Oh my gosh. But we got new Marvel, we got new DC, which, you know, fucking who gives a shit about? Oh, everybody somehow. And Jurassic World, which is somehow the one I'm actually most excited for, which is funny. Well, I'm actually most excited for Fantastic Four, just because those are my favorite comic book characters. So to just see them get their due in the MCU will be interesting, as much as, you know, that would have interested me way more 5 years ago. I'm still excited to see what they do with it. Couldn't give less a shit about Superman. But this is all to say, I actually think this month fed us really well to go into such a corporate slot month. Because July is when all these big movies, the biggest movies of the summer, are coming to destroy any movie that stands in its way. So, you know, you get Jurassic World, and then 9 days later you get Superman, but nothing's getting released in between. Nothing is getting released the same weekend alongside them. It's my belief Eddington should have came out this weekend. Eddington is not going to do anything at the box office on July 19th. So why not release it on July 2nd and try to get some sort of 4th of July bump out of it? You know, the same way that they did Maxine alongside Despicable Me 4. Because it's not going to make money either way. So you might as well release it this weekend, because I don't think there's that much of an overlap between the audience of Superman or Jurassic World and Eddington. So give us an adult movie, I guess is what I'm saying. Give us a movie for adults to enjoy over 4th of July. And that's what's so frustrating about these big corporate movies, is it's like, not only that I don't care about them, it's that they actually actively take away the movies I do care about and push them until now they have to come out the same weekend as I Know What You Did Last Summer and the Smurfs, and they'll all eat each other, and they'll all take the box office away from one another because they're all too afraid to go up against Superman or Jurassic World. And Eddington is the one that shouldn't be, because it's not going to do good either way. So might as well try to get the 4th of July slot, but I guess they're just too afraid they're not going to get any show times. That was just my thoughts, my random rambling thoughts on the state of movie going for a second. Once again, let me know what you saw in June in the comments and what you're looking forward to most in July. Literally everybody I know is looking forward to Superman, so don't feel bad if it's that. And I'll still be seeing it, so don't you worry. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.